A middle-aged man sat in his easy chair, reflecting on his life. He was moderately successful. He had a wonderful wife and 2 children. They lived in a comfortable house in a nice neighborhood. They had decent cars, not flashy, but suitable for their needs. Yet, the man was restless. Something seemed to be missing. So he reflected. Then he dozed. Then he fell asleep. Today is the 13th Sunday in Ordinary Time. The readings today ask us to reflect on the themes of our spiritual health and how our choices in life bring us spiritual health or illness, possibly even spiritual life or death. The first reading is from Wisdom. In the passage that we hear, Wisdom reminds us that God is not the author of death. In fact, God authored life in all of its forms. Everything that He created has purpose, and each creation seeks justice. That is, seeks to be in balance with His Creator. Death only enters at the urging of the evil one, who envies God and seeks to be God's equal. Death is out of balance with God and cannot be part of God's justice. The man dreamed. He found himself sitting in the middle of a room with doors on each wall. In front of him was a console, and the console had buttons on it. The man counted 30 buttons, none of them marked, except one. That one was marked Help. In the second reading, Paul is writing to the Corinthians about a collection he's gathering for the church in Jerusalem. We know from Acts that the members of the church in Jerusalem sold everything they owned and shared it among themselves. Being in the center of the Jewish community, these Christ followers came under pressure from the traditional Jewish community. They began to suffer shortages. Paul traveled to a number of churches outside Jerusalem, taking up a collection to be given to the Jerusalem church. What we hear today is Paul making his case. The church of Corinth should be happy to share some of their abundance with those who are struggling. When things are different and the Jerusalem church is doing well, they will, in turn, share with the other churches, like Corinth. Paul is describing a balance, a harmony, a justice modeled after the right relationship that God desires with God's creation. As the man sat and wondered, one of the doors opened, and a figure walked into the room, stopping in front of him. The figure gestured to the console. The man finally asked, "What am I to do?" "Choose one button and press it," the figure said. "Press the correct one, and you will receive $10 million. Choose another, and a bear will come out of that door and tear you to pieces. Choose another one, and you will never be sick. Choose another, and you will never be well. One will make you happy. Another one will make you sad. You just have to choose. You must choose." The man looked at the console. None of these buttons are marked except the one that says help, the man said. What happens if I push that one? Then that will be your choice, the figure said. When you push it, you will see what happens. In the gospel today, we hear a story within a story. Jairus, the synagogue official, has a daughter who is ill. There's also a woman who has a persistent illness that seems to be incurable. Jairus asks Jesus for help. The woman senses from what she hears about Jesus that by simply touching him, she can expect relief. Each of these figures makes a choice. Each one acts in faith. Each one believes Jesus can help them. Each one believes Jesus will help them. The figure stood silent as the man looked at the console. He was used to making his own way. He made the decisions that brought him success, a wife, children, a nice house. But now he was uncomfortable, maybe a little fearful. Something was still missing, and he couldn't quite decide what it was. It is time, the figure said. Choose. The scriptures offer us two things to contemplate when we are choosing. First, God seeks balance in God's relationship with us. That relationship is one of creator and creature. God's justice is a give and take relationship, a relationship in balance. It is a relationship of life. Second, being made in the image and likeness of God, God expects us to follow God's model in our daily lives and in our daily encounters with one another. As Paul writes, we give of our abundance to those who are in need, so they may give to us when we are needy. And the key to it all is to live in faith. Jairus had faith, even when he hears that his daughter had died. The woman's faith came from her understanding of the power of Jesus. Each of them sought life through Jesus. The man in the room faced choices that could lead to many outcomes, choices that would change his life. Is it possible that he finally recognized that in order to help bring his life into balance, he would need help? Is it possible that he could gather the faith needed and choose to push the button marked help? Our relationship with God, our balance, is connected to our choices. Our relationship with one another is connected to our choices. Our faith affects our choices, and our choices reflect our spiritual life and health. And each day we choose. We must choose. Jesus is there to offer us his help, and all that is required from us is the faith to ask him.